Hello Sagittarius, I'm Ulrich, I'm a normal card reader, and today we will do the financial card reading for the sign of Sagittarius for the month of January. As always, we will do 4 card readings for the sign of Sagittarius for the month of January. And these are based on the natural elements in your astrological chart, or for some of you, on your time of birth. These basic elements are air, earth, water, and fire. Now, the 4 objects that you always see on my table are immediately connected to those objects. So you choose or you pick one that you think relates most to your personality, or you choose one you feel most comfortable with. This object of your choice, it should or it will relate the best to your current situation. However, if the object and the related video does not match your first choice, please check the other videos that are immediately connected in the same session. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. Anyway, the matches represent the fire element, the stone represents the earth element, the aerosol sprayer represents the air element, and the shell represents the water element. Also, I want to add, if you have questions, you can always post them in the comments below, and as soon as I have time, of course, I will answer them. So, Sagittarius, here we go for your financial card reading for January 2022. Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to the Shell or the Water Group for your philosophical financial card reading for the month of January. This is a more heavy card reading that we are having here because we have the heavy card of the deck here in the middle. This card mostly represents financial difficulties. For some people, if you are an independent, sometimes this represents bankruptcy or very financial difficulties. But the first card here, it wants us still to compare to other people. So maybe the situation is temporary, or maybe it's a situation that we caused for ourselves, this financial difficulties. Because the first card that we have is this reading wants us to compare to other people. So maybe even though you are in very severe difficulties, you still have a way out here somehow, because this card is the card of others, ancestors, people who live around us, people who have nothing at all. So this card wants us to compare our condition to people and other people, and how did we get there. Here, sometimes with this card, it tells us that there are other people that are still in worse conditions than we are. So if you would be in a very negative spiral, you should think maybe about your people who have nothing, maybe about your ancestors. Sometimes these people needed to live with 1 salary with 4 children, and maybe compared to them, your situation is not so bad off after all. Also, they had no access to credit cards, so they could more difficult balance themselves out. They just spend what they earned, and they need to foresee for their children that they could go to school, that the children were well taken care of here. They also needed to see that their house was paid, because the priority during that time was the house payments, so they would not lose their houses. They had still a place to live. So here we see, if you compare yourself, maybe if you compare yourself to those people here, we are still in a better situation or a less worse situation than they are. So you need to ask yourself if there is still a parallel, and if you're still better off. I'm assuming you are, because else this card would not be here. So we should think about others, in what conditions they are. Some people have no food. If we look around us here, what the virus or the so-called viruses have implemented for a lot of people in the world, we know the situation for some of us is severe, and it's more worse than a temporary, very difficult financial situation, or even a bankruptcy. These are temporary situations that we are facing. But if you have no food, of course, it's something totally different. The second card here is the card of bankruptcy that we are seeing here. Maybe you are in a financially very distressed situation here. Maybe sometimes this points to people that are having difficulties to sleep at night. Maybe you are in a serious deficit here. Maybe you are in a point of no return here. If you are in a difficult situation, if you are an independent, for instance, this card tells us maybe you should consider going to a bankruptcy specialist. But of course, before you start this, before you agree with certain agreements with a bankruptcy specialist, you need to inform yourself wisely, consult more than a professional. You need to evaluate your own situations, your own choices, the advantages, the disadvantages. Make sure also that you understand the impacts of the process of your conditions here. If we make such decisions, it has consequences, and in general, we need to have a radical change of lifestyle, consumption habits, and everything that is connected to it. If you did not reach that point, this card tells us to be very careful with our finances, because this is a serious card already. So it means that you drastically need to change your consuming habits. Also, if you are a private person, not an independent here, this card tells us if you are in a difficult situation somehow, maybe you could consider like a social assistant in your area, a person who is aware. Mostly there are in every community, there are consultants, financial assistants that we can go to and explain our situation. Maybe these people know a way out here for helping you financially getting back on your feet. This is what this card is also about. Anyway, here this card tells us that we need to modify our behaviors financially before we actually hit the wall. Some people, if they don't adjust here, they will literally hit their head against the wall. So here, if this card is in your hands, it means that it's time to reflect. The next card is probably, even though we are in a very difficult situation, those close to us still love us dearly. It means that our children love us dearly, our wife loves us dearly, our husband loves her dearly. The family is still very close together. This is what we are seeing here. But also the other way is, and maybe this is part of the problem, we should be very careful the days to come and the weeks to come and the months to come, maybe by spoiling family members. Small amounts, presents here could have a severe effect on the future here. Maybe you need to cut the restaurants, the takeout dinners here, ordering online here. So also for presents in the future, you will need to be very careful here, because this is what this card is about, giving presents to loved ones. Put yourself together as a family, talk to each other. Maybe it's not the good time now to give presents in the future. Talk about this, why it's not possible. Include your children in this here. Do this alone and in private here. Show interest to them and also explain your situation, what it will have as consequences here. This card tells us also that we need to cherish memories with our loved ones here. Sometimes they are more important than money here. So here this card tells us, if you can, be gentle to yourself, see the positive sides if you still can. This is also about spending time with our loved ones. Try to spend time with your loved ones, because the most precious gift sometimes is time and good memories that we have. So Sagittarius, this is all for this rather difficult card reading. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other three that are connected here. I'm sure one of the four will fit you. You can also check the specific love card readings that we do for you, or the general Lenormand card reading, which give you also a clearer view in the future. Anyway, Sagittarius, I want to thank you for your time, and I'm sure we see each other in the other videos. Thank you, and bye-bye for now. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to the Air Group for your card reading for January 2021. 22, excuse me. The first card that we have here is that every gesture with money that it counts. Maybe your finances are not as you would like them to be. Maybe this has certain reasons here. If you observe your bank account, you are the one who decides about this, but mostly this points that we spend small amounts of money, and this card asks you if this was really necessary for spending small amounts of money. It's the card of questions that we see here. Sometimes here, bank cards or the phenomenon of bank cards, it gives us the impression that small amounts are not important, but sometimes it has a lot of small amounts have big consequences here. So here we need to become more conscious here. Also, if we pay with our credit card, our brain does not calculate. It's like we don't spend, but of course, at the end of the month, we see that the money is no longer there. So here, this card tells us we need to have some changes here. We need to realize that these small amounts, they count for something. Some people get in serious problems with spending small amounts of money here. So this card tells you to get your self back in hand here. You need to ask yourself about your card payments. Also, sometimes this card is about that we can control ourselves better by paying cash. Why? Well, if we pay cash, we actually calculate the money is in our wallet and we hand it over to the cashier or whatever person we need to pay to, and we actually see the money disappearing. We don't have that feeling in our head and in our brain when we use the credit card. So also a good suggestion of this card is sometimes to pay for a while cash. So you should consider this also, but it's foremost important here that you start or stop with certain disbursements here, which accumulate, of course, to large amounts. It's through a series of these small micro decisions of not spending that you will get back on your feet and you will get better control. The second card is closely connected to it. It's the card of visual reminders. What is a visual reminder? Well, if you use your credit card a lot, we assume here that you do, like most of us here, here we need to see that for starters, if we buy something in the store, before we pay, we need to double check what we are about to buy. So we need to check our articles and the importance of these articles, if they are really necessities, or if some of these things are luxurious or unnecessary unnecessities. So here you need to have a very good look here with these expenses that you do in the future. So what you can do here for this is checking before you pay, but also on the credit card itself, you can put like a small visual reminder in the corner, something that makes you scared, that makes you reflect that you are about to spend things again that you don't actually need. So if you are about to pay, you will see this visual reminder, and then you will think maybe twice before you actually proceed with the payment, or you will realize that some things you don't really need. So here we need to validate what is really essential here. So when you hand over the credit card and you see the visual reminder, maybe it holds you back here. Also, if we do a lot of online shopping, like most of us do now, you can change your passwords in a password that makes you reflect. What is such a password? Well, for instance, truly necessary or reasonable. So it makes you think if you give in that password before you pay. So it makes you think twice before you actually confirm your financial transaction. Of course, you will need to change those visual aids and those passwords periodically, because if you don't, they will have no effect on the long run. This is just a small help here for reducing the way we pay. So be creative, help yourself for financially reducing your expenses or superficial spending. The last card is also connected with quite a strict reading that we have here for this group, for the air group. This is the card of time. It tells us that financially seen, that time is not our friend. Why is this? Well, of course, if we have certain debts or our accounts are not balanced out, we need to pay interests, and these interests, they generate money that is still open, that has debts. It accumulates in more debts. So here the situation is, instead of turning positive, it gets actually worse. Why? Because these interests, they cost you more than you initially wanted to pay. Of course, ignoring the problem, it will not help. Putting our heads in the sand here, we need to take the bull by the horns here with this card here, because it's important. Time don't help if we just ignore. So don't wait until the holidays for making a plan of action. It will only get more difficult here. There is no such perfect time. The time to act is now. So secure yourself financially. If you want to, you need to probably radically change some spending habits. This is what we are seeing here. Also, you need to analyze your situation. If you don't know where the problem is coming from, maybe you need to analyze your situation. You take a paper, a pencil, you write your things down, see what you spend. You make certain columns and you see where you spend your money, and this is how you can actually analyze the problem for taking back the reins of your budget and go towards a more positive situation. So Sagittarius, this is all for this financial philosophical card reading. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other three that are connected here. I'm sure one of the four will fit you. You can also check if you are interested in the love card readings or the normal card readings that we do each month, and give you also a look into the future month to come. Anyway, Sagittarius, thank you for your time, and I'm sure we see each other in the other videos. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, and bye-bye for now. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to the Stone or the Earth group for your financial philosophical card reading for the month of January. As the first card here, we see that we need to re-evaluate or more value the small amounts of money that we spend, small coins, small bills here. We need to give them back here their moment of glory. Here we see that we need to, if we don't pay attention to it, it could cost us more. A lot of people, or many people, came into problems with spending small amounts of money, and of course it has a financial impact on the long run. If you always spend 10 times 5 is 50. So if you spend a lot of small amounts of money, it also at the end of the month, it brings serious amounts of money. So this card wants you to reflect about that. Even though the expenses are not big, you should think about it twice, give it your severe attention, and also give a critical look at your spending, at your invoices here. Also, we should not go into discounts, because we have the cards of discounts. They're also next to it. Actually, if we always go into things, it's like we are de-evaluating our own money. Our money has a certain value, but if we always spend it, devaluates our own situation. So here, it sometimes also, it blinds our financial clarity, and we need to see clearly here that it takes a lot of coins and small bills to create 100, and the 100 forges into thousands. So this is what this card is about. Tread lightly here. Each coin is of great importance here. So the next time if you visit a store, rate what you have bought, look in your cart, look in your basket, see if you really need those things. Make a separation of the necessities and the luxurious things, and you can balance yourself out more. This is what this card tells us here. Excuse me. It's by valuing the coins and the small bills here that we get back on the right track. The next card is the card of discounts. What does this card mean? Well, of course, we all like to find discounted articles. We all do the hunt sometimes for finding a discounted item. We check out the sections of liquidations in hoping to find a beautiful object, an electronic gadget, maybe a piece of clothing or whatever that we don't actually need, just for the idea of the chase, and that we get it for a ridiculous amount. But also we need to understand every time we do so, it costs us, of course, money, even though we buy the article at a very ridiculous price. And also then we need to take in account that some salespersons or some certain firms, they are very smart, and the discount that you get, you need to be sure that it's actually a discount. So don't be bewitched by sales. Keep your head cool and ask yourself, even if the price is reasonable, do you need this gadget or this article? Do you need the shoes? Do you need this gadget? So this is what it's about here. By always looking for these discounts, we spend probably a lot of more than we have anticipated. And the question, of course, is this really necessary? So also this card is about bulk buying. If you are a person who buys in bulk, so this is of course a very good initiative because you get discounts. But then you need to see, of course, at the end of the month, especially if it's like food articles, that they are consumed at the end of the month. If you catch yourself giving them away to your brothers, sisters, neighbors, it's not that you cannot be a charitable person. This is not the point here. But the point is, if you catch every month for giving things away that you bought in bulk, maybe you should reconsider by not buying in bulk. This is what we are seeing here, because then it's no longer economizing. Of course, if you want to give to charity, this is something else. But this card is about, if we economize, we need to do it in the right way. Also, don't overflow. This card tells us with articles that you don't really need, because later on you will probably bring them to recycling. So ignore the offer, discount, liquidations, and your wallet will improve with it. The last card is also, it's a strict card reading that we have here. This card is about that we might be living beyond our means. So this card asks you if you live beyond your means. This is a very strict reading that we have here. I'm only the card reader, don't shoot the messenger here. If you have certain debts here and you didn't balance them out here, you should consider by balancing out your debts here, especially the ones on the credit cards here. Maybe this is a very good reminder here, because the more our debts deepens, the more efforts and labor you will need to do to get out of the situations that you are in. Also, this card tells us that probably in your wallet you have a very expensive credit card, meaning that's probably the credit card that always gives you money, even though it's already very low in certain amounts of money. It still keeps on giving you money. But if you look at your payments, your monthly payments, you will see that these cards sometimes charge you 20–30% of interests, and actually you pay a lot more. This is no longer a credit card. These are shark credit cards. So be very careful if you have such a card, because this card tells you probably you have one like that. So you need to try to get rid of these cards, try to balance them out, and use your regular credit cards who are less expensive. This is about getting rid of things like very expensive credit cards. Anyway, you need to check in your accounts what you receive from your bank, how much you pay, and if you have such a card, try to get rid of them. Anyway, we need to realize if we are below zero, we pay interest. This is what this card is about. You need to balance out yourself if you are living beyond your means. So here, try to reduce here the use of your credit cards. The question is, of course, will you be able to, but be careful here that you don't come in difficult situations. This card reading is like a warning here. We need to pay attention to small amounts of money, not going into discount, and not overuse our credit cards. So it's up to you to decide where you are here. Anyway, Sagittarius, I want to thank you for your time that you spent on my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other three that are connected here in this reading. You can also check out the Lenormand card reading, also give you a better view in the months to come. Anyway, I want to thank you for your time, Sagittarius, and I'm sure we see each other in my other videos. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye for now. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to the Matches or the Fire group for your philosophical financial card reading for the month of January. As the first card here that we see, it's about credit cards here, this card. And this card asks you, how would you rate your own use of your credit cards, good, bad, in the middle? Here we see we want to, this card wants us to make up a balance where exactly we are in the use of our credit cards. This card has two sides. It has a positive side and a negative side. The positive card side is that it reminds you in the positive way that probably you don't use all the advantages of your credit card. Some cards, credit cards, they give points, they give additional discounts in certain stores. Maybe it's a store that you visit a lot and you don't use the discounts that you have. Sometimes also if we take a trip, we get certain discounts. So this card reminds you to double check all the discounts, the advantages that you have on your credit cards. That's the positive side of it. The negative side of this card is, for instance, here that maybe we are overusing the credit card too much, maybe you overspend. Here it's about balancing also. If we go, of course, if we use the credit cards too much, we come below zero. And then, of course, we pay high interests. We need to be aware that if we don't put the credit card at the end of the month at zero, you pay very high interest. Some of these cards are really sharks, so they charge you 20–30%. And of course, they smile. They are very happy that you are considering their business, because for them, it's, of course, a gold mine that they have found there. So you need to be very careful here with those expensive credit cards here. This is what we are seeing here. We need to here assess our financial situation here before it gets worse if you are in that situation. If you have an overdue account, here we see that we need to balance it out. Try to avoid additional fees here so you don't get deeper into certain debts. Anyway, if you have a very expensive credit card, as the one I just mentioned, try to balance them out. The ones who charge you 20–30%, try to get rid of them. Try to get them out of your wallet and go into more cheaper credit cards, because this really is very difficult situations like that. Try to get rid of those expensive credit cards. Mostly it's the card that always gives you money. No matter where you are, it always gives you money. And it's, of course, it's very easy to use, but these people overcharge you. Make no mistake, they know exactly what they're doing. So here we need to see that we need to think twice about the use of certain credit cards, and we need to use them in a more positive way. The next card is that we probably spend small amounts of money, maybe with the credit card, most likely, because most of us pay with credit card these days. So here we need to re-evaluate the small amounts of money that we spend, even like, for instance, before we use small coins and we don't pay attention to those small amounts, small coins that we are spending here, but sometimes it has a severe effect. 10 times 5 is 50, 10 times 50 is 500. So that's where we go here with this reading here. Some people who are struggling or have difficulties to meet end sometimes pay small amounts, and they don't actually calculate if they spend those small amounts. So you need to think sincere about this, give it your sincere attention. If an invoice is smaller, double check it. Also, don't go into discounts, certain discounts here, because actually it depreciates the real value of our money, and it causes us sometimes to consume more here. So here, take some distance here, because it takes a lot of coins or small bills to create 100 that you forges then into thousands. So each coin, this card tells us, is of great importance for us here. So the next time you visit a store, before you go to the cashier, rate what you have bought, look at the necessities and the unnecessities, look at the luxurious articles that you bought. If you don't really need that stuff, just don't buy them. try to value the small amounts of money that you spend so you can get back off track, because normally with this card here, it means if you adjust your spending, you can save money. That's why you have this card here. So if you adjust your style of spending, if you balance out your credit cards, and you stop spending small amounts of money, you can save money, because else you would not have this card here. So it means probably there's something wrong with the way you spend money. I'm only the card reader. I'm just saying what is here. So here, this is the card of automatic savings. What is this card? Well, if you are not in a difficult situation, if you're still able to balance yourself out, and it's not so bad as it seems, here this card tells us one of the most efficient ways to save money is organize yourself with systematic savings. Of course, you need to calculate a certain amount that you can miss a month. This is for most people on a monthly basis, so you need to see where you are, and then you set up some kind of automatic withdrawal. You do this by laptop. You give the order to your bank by laptop, or you go to your bank, and automatically this money is put into your savings account. Of course, it takes a few months here to get used to such disbursements, but the advantage is the money is not really gone. It's an investment for you. It's a second source of investment, and if you do so, if you control your spending here, you could end up with various reserves, and you have the abilities, because that's why this card is here. It's just an adjustment here that you need to do. Maybe this card tells us we need to save for our children, for the future, we need to save for retirement, or there's a trip that you already longed for a long time, or maybe some things in your house require renovation here. This is what we are seeing here. So set up your savings account, balance yourself out, discipline yourself, and begin the vicious circle that will lead towards more security here, but especially balance out your credit cards. So this is all for Sagittarius, for the fire group. If this card reading don't fit you all, please check the other three that are connected here. I'm sure one of the four will fit you. If you are interested in love card readings or more into the future for the months to come, we have also Lenormand card readings who are more detailed in the general life for work or whatever. You can all find everything on my channel. Of course, it will take you some time, but of course you get a lot of information there. Anyway, Sagittarius, I want to thank you for your time. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.